Now, it's rather common in WWE that the first finisher used by a particular wrestler isn't the finisher they keep throughout their career. But which finishers were they? Well, join us now as WrestleMania looks at 10 finishers that WWE wrestlers retired. Number 10, Dean Ambrose, the original Dirty Deeds. Ambrose would change his finisher after around a year on the main roster. Originally, he would use a headlock driver as his finisher, and the interesting thing about this move is that it was still called the Dirty Deeds. Eventually, Ambrose would change the move and would start using a double arm DDT, which is still the move he uses as his finisher to this very day in AEW and New Japan. Number 9, Shawn Michaels, Teardrop Suplex. Believe it or not, at one stage of his career, Shawn Michaels used to use Sweet Chin Music as a standard traditional move. His actual finisher would be that of a Teardrop Suplex, a move that is very similar to Kurt Angle's Angle Slam. The move was rather underwhelming for HBK, especially as a finisher. Number 8, Chris Jericho, The Breakdown. In 2001, Chris Jericho believed that he needed a more new, impactful finisher. He had the Walls of Jericho and the Lionsault, but he wanted something fresh and unique. Therefore, he came up with a new move called the Breakdown. It was completely lifeless in comparison to Jericho's two other finishing moves. Number 7, The Rock, Running Shoulder Breaker. It wasn't until his transition into a heel in '97 that the real Rock finally surfaced. Prior to the introduction of the Rock Bottom and the People's Elbow, The Rock was using a basic running shoulder breaker as his finishing move. The finisher would be underwhelming for any wrestler, never mind somebody like The Rock. Luckily, 7 months after his debut, he would debut the Rock Bottom, a move that nobody in WWE was doing at the time. The People's Elbow would quickly follow. The Rock would soon become a WWE megastar. Number 6, Braun Strowman, Triangle Choke. The Monster Among Men's initial finisher would be that of a lifting arm triangle choke, a devastating looking move that truly added to Braun's presence and aura. Soon after Braun's debut, the choke was quickly dropped from his arsenal, and in place came a basic running power slam, a move that fans have been eager to see to be replaced ever since. Come on, they can surely come up with something more creative than that. Number 5, Randy Orton Ozone. It's fair to say that the RKO is without a doubt one of the most popular finishing moves in WWE history.
Here comes Ziggler, went for the famous Randy Orton counter.
However, Randy Orton hasn't always used the famous move as his finisher. When Orton debuted on SmackDown in 2002, he would use a finishing move known as the Ozone. Now, this move would later be used by MVP, but he would rebrand the move as the Playmaker when he debuted in 2006. The move itself is rather anticlimactic and is not appropriate for a big star like Orton. Number 4, Sheamus High Cross. Long before Sheamus would be hitting the Brogue Kick on his opponents, he would be using a finishing move known as the High Cross. The High Cross was a crucifix powerbomb which looked extremely similar to that of Razor Ramon's Razor's Edge. The move was slowly fizzled out of Sheamus's arsenal completely by the time that he won his second WWE title in the summer of 2010. Number 3, Seth Rollins Front Falling DDT. In 2015, shortly after Seth Rollins won the WWE title in the main event of WrestleMania 31, Vince McMahon decided to ban his finishing move. The curb stomp was banned because McMahon believed that the move looked dangerous and was going to give the WWE talent a concussion. But moving forward, Rollins would use a front-falling DDT, a move that was a huge downgrade in comparison to the curb stomp. Rollins would soon retire his finisher when he would begin to use Triple H's pedigree to tie into the storyline he was in at the time with The Authority. Number 2, Samoa Joe, Muscle Buster. Samoa Joe has been synonymous with the Muscle Buster, as many fans when they would think of the move would instantly think of Joe. However, in 2015, he was forced to retire the move in WWE forever. In a dark match in the summer of 2015, Joe would hit a Muscle Buster on Tyson Kidd, and unfortunately it resulted in Kidd seriously injuring his neck and spine. Following the incident, Kidd would never wrestle again, and WWE quite rightly decided to ban the Muscle Buster. Moving forward, Joe would use the Coquina Clutch to finish off his opponents. It's unlikely that the Muscle Buster will ever be used on WWE programming ever again. And number 1, Brock Lesnar, the Kimura Lock. One of the best things about Brock Lesnar when he returned to WWE in 2012 was that he was able to add MMA-style moves into his arsenal. One of these moves was the Kimura Lock, a move that looked absolutely devastating and one that Lesnar would use as his finishing move. However, the finishing move was quickly fizzled out as one of Brock's finishing moves, and eventually it would rarely, if ever, be used at all. In its place, Lesnar Lesnar would continue to use the F5, and it was never indicated why Lesnar stopped using the submission move as his finisher. But there you have it, folks. 10 finishers that WWE wrestlers retired. There's probably plenty more, so look out for a part 2 in the near future. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.